Hi everyone, welcome to yet another session of Let's Talk Design. Thank you all for being so patient. Okay, there is some problem with the login. Just bear with us. In case you're wondering, we'll be talking about marble trends in residential and retail and office spaces today. And we have a very special guest who will be sharing all their insight with us. Thank you all for joining in. Not sure why the invitation is not going. Just allow me a minute. So I think there is a problem with the connection. Okay, now I can see them online, yes. Should work. Thank you all for being so patient. I'm really sorry about this hitch. We'll be having a very interesting conversation today on trends in stone and marble in residential and commercial spaces. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, do drop them in the chat box. We'll be addressing them at the end of the session. Okay, so we do have a problem here. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, do drop them in. I think it is a connection issue at their end. If somebody can just drop me a message and tell me.
Okay. Why would I be connected to your phone? I'm not connected to this one. Please, can you connect?
Working, yes. Hi. Okay, I've lost them again. Okay, great, thank you. So I assume the problem is not in my end. I'm just going to wait for our guest to join us. Okay, so I think we should be starting any moment. So I'll quickly introduce the subject for today. We'll be talking about marble trends in residential, retail, and office spaces. We'll have with us Essentia Environments, one of India's leading design and construction firms. So hang in there. Thank you for being very patient. We'll be starting shortly. Okay, so I think there is a problem with their app. I've just got a message. I'm just going to send them. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being really patient. Our guest is going to log in shortly. I think you need to upgrade your app to be able to connect to the video. Or maybe you can log in from a different device. We did manage to connect for a second though. I don't know why we've got disconnected. You know, I think the earlier device was better. Now I can't even invite them. Okay, 1 minute. I'm sorry, a lot of people are sending me requests to join their live. I will not be able to join any other live. We have a very special guest today and I'm going to wait for them to log in. In the meanwhile, why don't we do this since we have a lot of you here already, and we do ask this question to all our special guests. And since we are waiting for our guest today, why don't I ask you all the same question? If you had to pick one stone that represents you and your personality, and why don't you sort of drop in your favorite stones in the comment box, and maybe we can have a giveaway at some point. So why don't you all, and you can define trends today. So this is an opportunity for you to define trends in stone. We are talking about marble trends in residential and commercial spaces. So why don't you all, my dear audience, drop in a conversation, and it'll be nice to know what is trending and what is not these days.
Hi, Ji, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Lovely.
Yes, hi.
Let me just try to adjust this. We were having some issue at our
Yes,
end.
that's fine. Usually, yeah, Instagram does not allow you to go live until you have the most updated app.
Which, I don't know why I could not connect from my own device.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I think I can see you. I can hear you very well. I hope you.
So, Hanji, sorry.
Okay, great. So, you don't really need an introduction, but we will quickly introduce you to our audience. We have with us Essentia Environments. It's an interior design firm that is founded in 1999 by Hardesh Chawla and Monica Chawla, with the objective of carrying out the business of interior design, turnkey execution, manufacturing, and supplying furniture and home decor accessories to discerning clients. For the last 15 years, both Monica and Hardesh for the last 15 years, Monica and Hardesh have been designing and building dream spaces for their clients and have in the process redefined elegant luxury. And we have with us Mr. Hardesh Chawla, who will be talking about marble trends in residential, retail, and office spaces. Thank you, Hardesh. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
My pleasure. My pleasure, and thank you for inviting me. Good to see you, and thousand of making you wait.
Starts the conversation. So first thing, from flooring to exterior design, stone can be used in various ways, in different varieties. How do you think trends in stone have changed over the years?
I I think when it comes to marble, it is such a uh, timeless stone which has been used, I think, for as far as I think few thousands of years. So I don't think that I'm saying it was always an aspiration. It was always considered a luxury product. Are we connected? Okay.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
was
yeah,
always
yeah.
considered products. In the last few years, let's say within the last 10 years or so, what I have personally observed is that it has become more affordable. So I see the usage increasing exponentially. Uh, if I were to, if I try to remember 10 years back, people used to come to us and the marble was used sparingly. But now, I think it's being put, particularly in the luxury projects, everywhere. So I think if anything, the usage has just increased. Which is that?
What are the qualities?
I'm sorry, I lost you there. Can you repeat the question, please? Did you, okay, I couldn't make out.
Can you hear me?
Uh, yeah, now I can. Lost the connection
Okay.
there for a minute.
Okay. Uh, I was asking you that when you pick up marble for any particular space, what are the qualities
Mhm.
that one should look for?
Okay, so one is obviously the aesthetics, in sense what is the color theme that we are going for. So that plays an important role. Second is the budget. The marble comes in different price ranges, so of course we have to keep that in mind. Lastly, I think also the usage. If it's a high traffic area, then certain marbles are not suitable for that. Or also if it's also exposed to the elements, then you have to be very careful as to what you select. So three elements would help us decide what marble to go for. Uh, are we here? The
And
connection seems a little
particularly,
unstable.
well, it's not in mine. I can see you very clearly and I can hear you as well. Okay. So when we talk about residential spaces, what do you think are trends that are, or stones that are being used today that work very well for residential spaces?
Okay, broadly speaking, I would say there are three color trends that we go for. Uh, Predominantly, it would be white and grays. Then you have a base
Right.
theme, and lastly, you would have, there are some people who prefer darker themes. Okay, so I think so. On a macro level, you can divide marble by these three color combinations. Uh,
Right.
Personally, if you were to ask me, and if I were to design something for my own personal use, I would stick to whites and grays. They are absolutely timeless. Uh, like they say, the fashion keeps on coming and going, but style is eternal. So white and grays, they're always soothing, and it fits our philosophy of keeping the base palette neutral. We are very particular about that, and we like to stick to those.
Okay, great. And what about office spaces? What do you think one should keep in mind when they're picking out stones for office spaces?
So office spaces, we are currently just starting our office, a very high-end office, and there the client is very particular in sense that they want their office to make a big impact. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're audible. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so in this case, we are sticking to our regular white and grays, but generally, because for office you don't get indefinite amount of time to do the fit outs. They are generally high-paced activities, which typically everybody expects the office to be done in 3 months, within 3 months. So it does not allow for the white marble to be laid properly. So typically we would avoid the use of white marbles in office.
Right. That
White
makes
definitely
sense.
looks very nice, but if it is not laid properly, it becomes an eyesore. And to lay properly, you need the time, and you cannot allow any other activity to happen simultaneously. So for offices, we would stick to the simpler stones, a little darker maybe, which are easy to lay and where you can uh, parallelly carry out other activities.
Could you share some examples of stones that you think work well for residential spaces and for office spaces? Both?
So, if we are sticking to the white and grays, then we have for whites. I would say what we are using currently is a combination of Michelangelo. We are doing Carrara. We of course use Satvario, and then if the budget is an issue, then we also use, and actually we have been using extensively, this Vietnam white. Uh,
Right.
it comes with its own issues, but I think if treated properly and laid properly, it's a workable solution which fits most of the budgets. For offices and other areas, I'm also very fond of, and if you follow us, you would see we are using extensively now. It's a silver travertino. Uh, we are also very, very happy using Indian marbles.
Right.
One for its low environment impact, two, they're generally more affordable. Uh,
Hmm.
so, and I think when you combine it with other expensive Italian marbles, they work very well.
That's good insight. You are, I mean, for the fact that process from design to completion and on a budget, right? Finances are always a concern for clients. So using stones,
I'm sorry.
art.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. You'll have to repeat that. I lost the first half of the question. Fourth question.
Okay. So Essentia Environments is known for delivering projects on time from concept to reality, right? And on a great budget. So if you had to talk about
Mm-hmm.
cost, could you share some examples of stones that come at a good price yet give elegant, luxurious design? And how can one optimize costs as well?
So typically, most of the beige and gray and colored stone, they would be below 500. Okay, depending upon the quality of the lot and the size of the lot. Uh, Typically, that would be the cost. Uh, when we introduce these stones in combination with the white and white, particularly Vietnam white, you can procure the stone for around 500 or 600, thereabouts the starting price. So that fits most of the budgets. But if a client has that budget and he has the deeper pockets, then of course we will recommend Michelangelo, which starts from 1,000 onwards. Satvario, a good quality Satvario probably crosses 2,000 these days. Uh, we also have this Calacata and Carrara, which also again cost 2,000 onwards. It's not just the cost of the marble, it's also the laying cost, which increases significantly
Yes.
going for white,
Yes.
nice stones. Because, the base work that you do, the chemicals that you use, they're all expensive. You understand intuitively, if you're buying a stone for 250 rupees, you would not be spending 400 or 500 rupees laying it, you know. So and which is what I think happens. It's unfortunate, but that it happens uh, predominantly here in India, particularly. They still use cement as the adhesive, cement mortar as adhesive. It shouldn't be used. It's a caustic agent, but because the marble people are going for those cheaper marbles, they continue using that as the adhesive instead of proper adhesives. But expensive, it's still expensive. So.
Time investment. If you define two things that one should keep in mind before investing in any particular stone, what would those two things be?
If I heard you correctly, you said what are the two things that one should keep in mind before picking up a stone? Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Stone is a one-time investment. So
That's right. That's right. I'm glad you brought that up, look at our Taj Mahal. When was it built? 400 years ago? And and it has been exposed to all the elements, and yet it retains its glory and beauty.
Yes,
So yes,
completely.
marble is timeless, like I say, and uh, I think the two things that you need to keep definitely, one is I would say three things. One is the colors that you want aesthetically. Two, it would be the budget. And third, the usage. Where are you going to put it? What is the traffic that you expect in that area? Is it for bathrooms? Is it for living area? Is it for a commercial area? Is it exposed to the elements? So I think all those elements would come in play before you decide what marble to go
Right.
for.
Right. So we've also seen in your portfolio that you use a lot of subtle colors and pastel shades, right, to create an expanse in space. White tones, white and grays, like you said. How do you think stone helps in adding to that feeling of expanse or, augmenting style?
Okay, so I think again, on a broader level, we prefer natural materials over materials which are made to look like the natural products. So I think stone marble fits in that very well. Second, marble is always perceived and will always be perceived as a luxury for XYZ reason. One, uh, and two, I think particularly the Italian marbles, the kind of shine that we are able to achieve on those marbles, I think it still remains unmatched. So overall, it gives a feel of luxury, which fits in our philosophy. Uh, Regarding the budget, depending upon the budget available, so it's also fortunate that marble is available in a wide variety in different price ranges. So I think if you would explore our project, you will find that we have absolutely minimized the use of tiles. We confine the tile usage to certain areas which are of not that significance, or where the timing is an issue. Like in some offices or some areas where we just have to finish the job in 10-15 days, and you don't have the option of time to lay marble. But I think for all our projects, we are very happy to use marble and on the flooring and also on cladding. For cladding, what we have started doing in the last 2 or 3 years is that we have moved away from the glossy feel. So
Right.
what we are doing is we are keeping our wet areas and all the walls. We are giving that matte leather finish, which I think enhances the overall look and feel even more.
Okay, okay, that's very useful. Could you also talk a little bit because
क्वेश्चन मैंने अलग से
I, I'm I have again lost you. I can't hear you.
okay, you spoke earlier about how marble and stone are environment friendly, materials. So
Mm-hmm.
could you shed some light on how you have used stone or any particular measures that you have taken to ensure that the use of stone is more sustainable in your projects?
So, see, marble is one because it lasts for so long. It could be, once kind of activity that you do and then you can forget about it. Two, most of the marble can be reused in sense that it could be recycled, it could be made into powder and used for other things, or in construction as subfill. So in sense, marble does not add to that environmental pollution. Now here there are two conflicting issues when it comes to this being green. When it is mined, the mines in Italy or in Europe, they are regulated and they they leave a very tiny carbon footprint. Whereas marble being mined locally, it is still kind of lot more polluting than what the methodology that's being followed overseas. But
Right.
the fact that overseas marble would have to be transported over such a large distance, whereas the locally available marble is nearer, it compensates for that impact. So here I think we are free to make the decision based upon what we like and the budgets. So because both of these, they kind of negate themselves. But over the long term, I think I see here also people are investing more in uh, managing the runoff, which is the most polluting one of the polluting items. So marble in sense, because it is timeless, because it lasts for so long, and then once you get rid of it, it can be used, reused. So I think you don't have any other construction material which is as environmentally friendly.
Right, right. That makes sense. Last question for today before we close the session. If you had to pick one stone that reflects your personality, that appeals to you, what would that stone be and why?
I guess it's a very subjective thing. Now, I like Carrara a lot uh, for XY reason. One, because of the whiteness that it comes with, and it's not bland. It has that character, but honestly speaking, it's like any other stone. Depending upon your preference, it's equally good. And I'm guilty of using other stones as much as Carrara, because not everybody can afford a good quality Carrara incense. So you might get me into trouble, because I would have clients saying that, okay, why are we not using Carrara in our projects if that's what you are fond of? Uh, but I think even where the clients do not have budget, we do use Carrara or similar looking stones in moderation. Uh, and it generally adds a very, very nice look. We would use it only in the
Right.
skirtings, or we'll use it in inlays, and so there are ways to enhance the overall look and feel without spending a lot of money.
Okay, great. So thank you. That was it's a lot of good into how stone and marble can be used for design. As you know, this series is actually called Let's Talk Design. So just
Mhm.
if you had to say one thing and you leave that as an advice to our audience on Let's Talk Design when it comes to stone, what would that be?
I I didn't get the question fully. Are you asking me for
Okay.
one quote, or?
So, yeah, one quote on Let's Talk Design for our audience.
Okay, so I think sticking to our philosophy, I would say for us, less is more. And if I remember correctly, I think this is inspired by Coco Chanel, who herself said that whenever you feel you are appropriately dressed to step out, just remove an item or two, and then you are good to go. So I think we follow that same. We'll never introduce elements unnecessarily in any of our projects. So I think keep it simple. Understand the client's brief, what they are looking for, what their aesthetic preferences are, what their functional requirements are, and then design something not because you want to introduce more and more elements into it, but what fits, what works, and then keep it subtle. So I think those would be my inputs if I were to suggest anything to anyone.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. This was super useful, barring the sort of few connectivity issues we had.
Yes, yes.
I hope you celebrate industry and we are gratitude to you for being part of the journey. They will tree on your behalf and will be very much for this series. Thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you very much. Stay safe,
Thank you.
everyone.
You too.